Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. This is going to be Blood Rage, more Blood Rage. For those of you who are fans of the board game, you're going to be really happy with the next couple of videos. And for those of you who have no interest, well, I hope that this piques your curiosity because again, it is a really awesome board game, and the combination of the game itself and then the miniatures, I think, makes for a pretty amazing experience. So this is segment 9, and it's going to be the last segment before I get into the reviewing the so-called superstars of the game, which is the big monster models. But I wanted to kind of do this first, just to kind of again be methodical about it. So I'm going to include sort of the 3D models of some of the cardboard tokens. So part of the board game. The Blood Rage board game, they use these cardboard tokens as playing pieces, and with the core set, you get just these flat cardboard punch-outs, which is nice. It's very nicely drawn, but unfortunately, it is just cardboard, which means with repeated use, even though it's very thick, as you can see, this will start wearing away over time. This is a really nice depiction of a horn. Okay, and so. If you buy some of the expansions, some of the Kickstarter exclusives and things like that, you'll get 3D versions of the core rules, so-called tokens. So these are what you get out of the box. This is the Saga token, this is the first player token, and this is the Doom token. I won't belabor the reasons they exist. You can check up the rules of the game easily enough, but I just wanted to kind of showcase what the paint job is like. So this is the base cardboard punch out for the Saga token, so to speak, or the Saga mark. And this is the very nicely customized 3D version of that. So it's the 3 horns intertwined together. This does come as a expansion, but it just came sort of unpainted and on plastic. As you can see, Top Miniatures really nicely customized it, put some grass, like they did with a lot of the bases, and then kind of painted the horns very nicely. You can see the rope wrapped around it and sort of the shading of the different horns. It's a lot of nice texture. So a very nice 3D representation of the Saga token. Okay, so there's this, and then this is the first player token. So the player who goes first gets that to denote where the game starts. So this is of course a very flat, sort of a flat version of the horn. There is a 3D version of this which I do own, and I think I show that in my one of my the game night YouTube reviews, so you can see it there. I don't think the 3D version of this really needs to be painted, but again, if you get an expansion, you'll get this 3D token, which is supposed to be the first player, the 3D version of the first player token. You can see it's a hand holding an axe. Again, very nicely customized by Top Miniatures. Here you go. And then finally, the Doom token, which is what you place on the land that's going to be destroyed or consumed by Ragnarok per phase of the game. And this is the 3D version of that. Again, I really love the paint job that Mina did here. You can see the red. It takes a lot of time and patience, painting the red little by little all the way in. And then, of course, the gray, weathering and shading all around. So great job there, and of course on the customized base to boot, and then you have another horn at the base right here. So you see the gold around it, very Norse-like. So all in all, these are the sort of the three-dimensional 3D tokens that you can buy. So again, the Saga, the first player, and the Doom token. So this actually you can buy commercially. I'm going to put it aside for now, so now you've got to take a look at that. gonna put that aside, and this is of course the core stuff. Now, as I mentioned before, these are the Pillage tokens. You have 2 horns, 2 axes, and then the 3 rage up top, the 5 glory points, and the, of course, the Gurdrasil, which is one of each, the big prize, so to speak. And so these are the pillage tokens, and when a land has been successfully pillaged, you flip it over, and then you can sort of see the ruined consequences. I'm going to do a close-up, so it's kind of hard to actually even tell which side is up. I think it's like this, and that's all smoke and ruins. So basically, it shows that that particular land has been pillaged. Okay. You flip it around, so that's how you can tell. Okay, so fair enough. So they're releasing 3D versions of these tokens finally with the second Kickstarter expansion. But when I commissioned this, that didn't exist. And so I did want a custom 3D printed with 3D versions of all of these pillage tokens. And of course, the opposite of the active pillage token is the destroyed ruins. So I wanted those, and there is a guy in Europe who luckily was one of the few who was doing this work. He printed me a very, very nice model. He printed me a resin copy, which I sent to Top Miniatures to be professionally painted. And then he also sent me a plastic set as well, which is a little bit hardier, easier to play, etc. So I showcased the unpainted resin kits or the unpainted resin models on a previous video, which you can certainly check up. And he made a comment so with his contact information. And so if you are interested, he's available to, if you pay him, he will print for you. So this is the plastic version of the pillage tokens. So as you can see here, it's quite nice. So not much to it. We'll showcase this. So here's the 5 glory right here. Okay. And then these are the 2 horns. Again, pretty basic. I mean, I like the design, certainly. It's a perfect 3D version of the actual, if you can take a look here of the actual pillage token, right? So you got 2 horns, you got the 2 axes right here, which again, very nice 3D version of that. And of course I have 3 rage, the hand gripping a thunderbolt right there. See how, again, 3D version of the token itself. And they did a really, really nice version of the tree Gurdrasil, and it's in green. So, if you just played with this, it would already be, I think, a pretty nice step above just playing with, for instance, the cardboard markers. And this would be very nice. Okay, it kind of gives you that extra little added punch when you're playing it. Oh, and last but not least, let me show you the ruin version. So the idea is once you pillage it, you have to remove this from the field or from the board game, and you put this back on. Okay, and this is all base black. So you can see there's 9 of them, and he gave me a 10th one as an extra in case you lost one of them, for instance. And so hopefully you can see a little bit of the detail. It's black on black. This is supposed to kind of showcase the charred remains of a village house with the walls and that type of thing. You can't see too much though, because again, it's all black. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what the heck is in all of this. Okay, so this is all 3D printed plastic. So again, wouldn't be bad just playing with these plastic pieces for the pillage tokens. But of course, I wanted my resin versions painted as well. And so Top Miniatures did a great job doing that, and I wanted to kind of showcase the quality of their work. So I'm gonna take all the plastic off. As you can see, they're plastic, so not easily broken. Let's start off with the World Tree Good Yourself. So this is the resin version painted by Top Miniatures. You can see again that they just nice customization, put a little bit of grass on the base, and you can see the tree itself. And the tips are a little bit golden. There's a little gold shimmer or gold paint in the tree, the tips, and I asked for that to kind of give it sort of like that magical quality. So it doesn't just look like a regular tree, but again, a tree worthy of the mystical nature of Yggdrasil, the center of the the universe, etc., from Norse mythology. So take a look at that, and then take a look at that compared with the plastic version right here. So hopefully you can see quite the difference between the two. So this is the plastic version. Still got a lot of, like mold lines, not really cleaned up. But again, you can't break it, it's hard plastic. But compared, of course, to the wonderful paint job, there's really no comparison. So really nice to be used here. And then these are the painted versions of the Rage tokens. You can see actually the blood on the hand, and then grasping the stylized thunderbolt. So again, really, really nice touch. It just kind of adds that extra little bit of sparkle to the experience, so to speak. So you compare, for instance, this with just a plain red of the plastic token versus even just a regular cardboard. I think it's pretty easy to figure out what's the more impressive looking piece. So again, these are the Rage ones. And then we'll get to the axes. Got two axes right here. Now the unfortunate thing is this does look very similar to the first player token right over here. It can be actually a little bit confusing, but what can you do? This is actually licensed from Cool Mini or Not, so there's not much you can do. A nice 3D version that is faithful to this is really just going to look a lot like this. So there's some confusion there, and I have to decide whether I really want to use this as a first player or whether I want to break out the Game Night large horn as the first player token instead. But again, very nicely painted, detailed. So here are the axes. And then comparing it to the plastic unpainted versions. The resin ones are the same as these, by the way, they're just gray. And then of course the cardboard. And these are the horns. Really nice job. Horns. And then compared to the plastic here, and of course the unpainted horns right over here. So, custom grass, earth, paint does make a big difference. You can see between this and this. And of course this. And then the last Pillage token. Not much you can do with that. 5 and 5. Versus 5 over here. Here's the consistency. All of it's on rock, grass. Okay, very nice. And then finally, last but not least, take a look at the painted versions of the pillaged representations of the pillage tokens. Again, we have 9 of them. These represent the backside of the other tokens. And then the extra one, which she actually painted up a little bit differently for some reason. Okay, I can clearly see the difference between that and that. So now that she's painted it, you can kind of really tell, you know, that it's basically rubble, old stone, and then pieces of wood mixed with the debris. So that's nice. And this one is a little bit different than the others. The paint actually now clearly shows it. A little bit more of a jumbled mess in there. So it's kind of nice that she gave it a different paint job to signify its difference, so to speak. And then, of course, compared to just the unpainted black versions. As you can see, it does make a little bit of a difference. You see that? All right. So now the only challenge, of course, is that as you play, for those of you who know the way the game works, just trying to get a nice shot of all of the painted pillage tokens together. So the challenge is that for those of you who know how the game works, you go through 3 phases, okay, or 3 rounds. And each round, the pillage tokens are sort of, or the pillaged areas are reset, so you can pillage them again between rounds. But they never change location, okay? The first round, you set them randomly, and then it keeps that position for the rest of the entire game through rounds 2 and 3. And so, for instance, if you successfully pillage a rage, and then you take it off the board and you replace it with here, you have to remember across all of the 9, parts, the 9 provinces, you have to remember which province has which pillage token, because obviously in the old game, you simply flipped it when it was pillaged, and then for the round 2, you just flip it back up, right? So you can't do that if you want to enjoy the 3-dimensional version. The easiest way is to probably just take a picture of the game board and then just refer back to it setting up. It takes a few seconds, a little bit inconvenient, but I think it's well worth the trouble, to kind of have this in front of you. I mean, everything looks so good, and so you want the pillage tokens to also look pretty awesome as well. So I'm going to end the video for now. Hopefully you enjoyed all of that. I'm going to end this segment, and the next segment I'm just going to show how these guys look on the actual game board themselves. Okay, so hopefully we'll enjoy that, and I'll be right back after the break. Okay, welcome back. So here you have the Blood Rage board itself. You can, sorry for the glare, you can hopefully see the lands, Utgard, Horger, anyways, I won't embarrass myself by trying to pronounce these Norse sounding names like Muspelheim and all of this. In the center, of course, is the World Tree, Gurdrasil, right here. And so I've just sort of placed the pillage tokens in the squares. So here you have it, and you can see kind of what they look like now. Okay. So they're all on. So this is what the 3D version will look like instead of the cardboard tokens. And then once you successfully pillaged, you obviously have to take this off the field and replace it with one of the ruined, tokens, 3D. And when you go to round 2, or this, another age, so to speak, then you have to remember that this has to come back and it has to be the same thing. And so again, the easiest thing to do is probably just to take a quick picture, and then you'll know where all the things are. So when you set up between rounds, you know where everything is. Of course, the Gurdjieff seal is always in the center here. So not much to it, looks pretty cool. Trying to kind of get a panoramic shot so you'll be able to see how they all look. So there you have it. Again, a little bit inconvenient when it comes to this aspect of the gameplay, but I think it's well worth it to be able to use the 3D tokens instead of the cardboard. So I hope you enjoyed this segment of the board game complete and painted miniature set review. These are custom 3D printed Pillage tokens, so it's not licensed by Cool Mini or not, and you can't really buy them. You have to contact this individual to print it for you. He gave good service. I think he's based in France. And so from the time of payment to the time of delivery was maybe just a couple weeks. It was pretty quick. And he did very good work. I have no complaints about that. And I think there are other, yeah, this is a nice shot here with minimal glare. But there are other, I think, individuals who do versions of these. They're out there if you do an internet search or Google, but I found him to be the most reliable, and I liked his design of the Pillage tokens. The 3D version is the best. It wasn't too crazy, too large, too over the top. It was just a kind of a nice 3D version of the cardboard punch-outs, which is what I was after. So again, your mileage may vary. You might like other versions better that's out there, but at least for me, he was the best choice. And I especially liked the work he did on Gurdjieff right here. Is it Gurdjieff? Gurdjieff? I just can't pronounce that. But I doubt I'm the only one who has a problem with that particular word. Okay, the next videos will be basically the big monsters. So hopefully, looking forward to that. Those are really going to showcase, I think, the talent that Top Miniatures put into bringing those to life. Okay, until next time, take care.